Live from beautiful Jacksonville, Florida, it's time for The Cindy Graves Show. And now, here she is, Florida's queen of conservative talk, Cindy Graves, on AM 600, The Answer.
Cindy Graves Show, thank all of you for spending part of your lunch hour here with us on this beautiful day in Northeast Florida. As the scandals pile up in Washington, D.C., all eyes are on Capitol Hill. And coming directly from Capitol Hill is someone that is well known to every single person in Northeast Florida. He's our hero, looking out for our military and so many other things for us on Capitol Hill. And boy, he's got a huge job this week, and that is our own Congressman Ander Crenshaw. Thank you so much, Congressman Crenshaw.
Cindy, it's great to be with you. And as you said, it's a busy time. I'm sitting right here next to the House floor getting ready to go in, but the White House is in a tailspin this week, and I think it's no surprise that all this, the IRS, the Justice Department taping, the Associated Press, we're getting ready to vote to repeal Obamacare. They've had this culture of intimidation. It doesn't surprise me. All they do is play politics, hardball politics all the time, and finally it's catching up to them.
Well, it certainly seems to be catching up to it in a big way. Now, are you on your way in to vote against Obamacare again?
Absolutely. Well, the first thing I want to touch, I'm chairman of the House Appropriations Subcommittee on Financial Services, and so my subcommittee funds the Department of Treasury, and that's where the IRS is. And let me tell you, I'm going to have a hearing, an oversight hearing, to try and get to the bottom of this. I announced that yesterday, and as you know, the chairman of the IRS said he's going to resign, but actually he didn't resign. He's set to expire at the end of June, so the president really has left him there. But that
was very confusing this morning in the media, I thought, because
exactly.
There were
and let me tell you,
reports.
It's not going to stop there. It's not simple enough for the IRS to simply apologize. This is the kind of behavior that reminds us of when the IRS used to target political enemies, and they're doing that today. It's just not the groups that they're targeting. They're actually targeting individuals, donors, and let me tell you, when we don't want to overplay our hand. We want the facts to come out, but it is outrageous, and frankly, it's beyond partisan politics. It doesn't matter if you're a conservative or a liberal, you're a Democrat, Republican. This is chilling, and it's a total abuse of power.
Well, it certainly is chilling to me. And when I've been following this, obviously, ever since last Friday, like everybody else, and it seems as though no one is asking why. They're saying that, now we have rogue employees at the IRS. What would the rogue employees be doing with the donor information from a Tea Party group, for instance? Are they opening a GOP think tank? And they want why would they want this information? Obviously, you're going to have to, and I know we can trust you, we're going to have to get to the bottom of why anybody would want this information and where it came from as far as the orders to do it, don't you think?
Well, there's no question. This is about intimidation. It's about hardball politics. That when they demonize, it's not simply enough to say we disagree. You disagree with this White House, and they're going to come after you. If you're a group, they're going to come after you. If you're an individual and you're donating money to the wrong party in their mind, they're going to come after you. This is bigger than just simply some abuse. This is like in the old days when they would say, we're going to use the IRS to target you, and frankly, how can anyone trust the IRS? One of the things, too, Cindy, the IRS is now going to be the face of Obamacare, because it's the IRS that's going to say to you, you don't have insurance, you don't have adequate insurance, and now we're going to fine you. And the IRS, while Mrs. Sebelius is me running this thing, the IRS is going to be what people see, and there's absolutely no trust in the IRS when they're doing the things like they're doing today.
Well, no, and there's no trust in Semelius either. When it's been pointed out that now she's doing her own fundraising. She is raising funds that in a power that is strictly given to Congress. How is she doing this, funding her own projects? They just have their own government over there, or what?
It's all about intimidation. They're calling. Here's the woman that's going to regulate some very major corporations, and she's calling them to ask them to give money to her so they can sell Obamacare better. There are situations, and this is all going to come out as well, where literally she's making phone calls asking for contributions in the 7-figure range to be used to promote Obamacare. And again, it's absolutely illegal. And of course, you've got the the Department of Justice. You've got the Attorney General of the United States that is authorizing secret taping of the largest press organization, the Associated Press. And so finally now, even the press has come along and say, this is wrong, this is outrageous.
Well, and I think that's going to be his two-punch whammy, because the third one is he's out. Plus, these heroes in Benghazi that finally now are getting their message heard and what happened to them, I don't know how he's going to keep sweeping that under the rug either.
Well, he can't keep swinging on the rug, because every day it turns out all the things that the White House has said day after day after day are proven to be wrong after wrong after wrong. It's just like today. When we vote to repeal Obamacare, and we've done that before, but I think people like me, we're not going to sit on the sidelines and wait for somebody to fix this. We want to say, look, when you turn 1/6 of our economy over to the federal government, then that's bad medicine. It was bad medicine 3 years ago. It's bad medicine today, and we're going to vote to fully repeal it. And it's just another example of broken promises. Think about what the president said, all the things, the promises he made to justify the mandates, to justify the taxes, the regulations. They've all been proven false. Broken promises, one after another. Just a couple of things. And you remember, 7 million people are going to lose their job-based health insurance. 7 million people are going to lose their job-based health insurance under this. Of course, he said, if you like your health insurance, you can keep it. It's going to cost almost $2 trillion, nearly twice as much as they said it was going to cost, and it's going to raise taxes about $1 trillion over the next 10 years. So, good grief. This is wrong. The premiums are higher, not lower. Health care costs are increasing, not decreasing, and the Americans aren't able to keep the plans they have. Just another case of a broken promise, and we get that over and over again from this White House because they're more interested in politics than they are in governing the country.
Well, they certainly are, and I'll tell you something, Congressman, maybe you can explain it to me, because, I waited, like Nancy Pelosi said, we're going to have to pass it before we can understand it, and now we've been through a session here with our Florida legislature that you're so familiar with, and all they did was argue about Medicaid, so it seems as though the only thing there is about Obamacare is Medicaid, and then we witnessed, while many different groups did polls on, if people, we talked about this a couple of weeks ago. There 46% of the people in America did not realize that Obamacare was still the law, and of the 46%, 92% of those people were the ones that Obamacare law was supposed to help. Isn't that frightening? They don't even know that and they don't want it.
No, exactly. They don't want it. And again, it's all these promises made, but promises broken. When they say we're going to give health care to 30 million people that didn't have it before, well, it turns out that half of that might be under Medicaid, which, as you know, is hardly being used today by doctors because it doesn't work well. And then a lot of the people that, as you say, thought they were going to get, you ask the average worker might say, well, I'm going to get free health care. And they say, oh, no, you're not. You're actually going to lose the health care you have today. as everyone in Washington is beginning to focus, and I think the world out there is beginning to focus, this is a giant train wreck, and it's going to all start happening in October when these exchanges have to be set up. It's going to be one massive train wreck, and that's even one of the Democrats that was in charge, Max Baucus. He's a Democrat from Montana. He was in charge of writing the law that the Democrats passed. He said it's a train wreck, and actually Max Baucus the next day decided he wasn't going to run again. He's leaving the United States Senate because I think he sees the handwriting on the wall. 2014, people are going to finally realize how bad Obamacare is, and I think the Democrats are going to lose a lot of seats because people are going to finally realize what a terrible hoax has been played on them. As you say, this 23,000-page bill, when people find out actually what's in it and how they're going to be hurt by it and how the taxes are going to go up, they're going to blame somebody, and it's going to be Nancy Pelosi and the crowd that rammed this through. People forget how they rammed it through the Senate and they rammed it through the House. Not a single Republican voted in the Senate or the House, and that's why we're trying to do everything we can to make sure it doesn't become law, but that's an uphill battle.
Well, it is an uphill battle, and we do know that the spiral for this president, though, had to have begun when you mentioned Mr. Baucus. It had to have begun when he tried to start with his gun control laws, which was also a horrible failure. The president is having a terrible second term so far.
You're exactly right. I mean, it's this week I mean, if you're a Republican and you believe in limited government, you watch this White House go into a tailspin because it's all about politics there. 365 days. He doesn't. I mean, even some of the Washington Post and New York Times, some of those folks that are kind of big Obama backers realize that this guy doesn't know how to lead. He doesn't know how to lead. He can go make a good speech, and that's what I always tell people. Don't listen to what he says. Watch what he does, because they're never the same. He's great at making a great speech. He's lousy at actually being a leader, and I think people are finally realizing it. And you throw in the fact that all they're doing is try to intimidate people, whether it's the IRS, whether it's the Associated Press, whether it's Obamacare, more power in the federal government. And I think that's just absolutely wrong and outrageous. And I think people are beginning to wake up and see what we have, and already, I mean, here he is in the second term, and it's a downhill slide.
Well, and it's going faster and faster. Poor, you'd almost feel sorry for him if he wasn't trying to take such advantage of the American people. But, also, I think that some of his donors probably, too, were getting a little tired of it, because he's never stopped fundraising, and he can't even run for office again. So watch your wallets and watch what he does. You were absolutely right, Congressman Crenshaw. We thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you, Cindy, and thank you for all the work that you're doing.
Well, you go get them. I'm telling you, you have absolutely pumped me up, and I can't wait to hear how all this comes out. And we're so happy that we have people like you up in Washington doing what you do to try to set this right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Cindy. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye.